Welcome on in, guys. If you're checking out this video, you are either a fan of the Elgato multi-mount system and want to have a little more flexibility with it, or you are just looking for a great way to mount all your audio and video needs to your desk for either streaming or video production. Now, I think I found the perfect accompaniment to the Elgato system, and I am excited to show you guys, so let's check it out. Now, first off, I want to say that this is not a sponsored video by any means. Elgato has not sent me their product, and the company I'm going to be talking about, TAC Form, is also not responsible for sending me any of these devices. I purely bought these on my own for my own needs, and I feel like they are so awesome I needed to share them with you guys because it solved a lot of issues I was having with what was generally a really great mounting system. So, what's so great about TAC Form? And yes, I did say TAC Form. I might have said TAC Form in the beginning, but I pulled out this sheet showing all the different mounting options they have for the 20mm system that Elgato uses, and I noticed that it says TAC Form. So obviously not a sponsored video. They have quite a few, as you can see. I don't even think that's actually everything that they have on their site, but I did pick up a pretty wide variety of stuff that at least I'm going to use. They did have a few things like iPad mounts and stuff for mounting to bikes and other random things like GoPros and stuff like that, which I did not get, but they do have that available if you are interested. Again, link to everything below. It is an affiliate link. I did put a decent amount of research into this, so if you don't mind clicking that when you're checking everything out, it would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, so let's just dive into what they do have. Now, they have a bunch of these just individual pieces, just the standard tubes, I guess. I don't know what else to call them. I did not pick any up because I actually have enough from Elgato, but they do have them, and I would hazard a guess that they are compatible because everything else that I picked up is compatible with the multi-mount system. Again, it is a 20mm ball mount system. That is important if you want to do your own research. There is a popular mounting system called RAM. They are not compatible. I did not measure beforehand when I was first kind of doing my research, and I picked up a couple of pieces from RAM, and they do not fit this system. So anyways, back into what TAC Form has. So they have those just standard two pieces. They also have these corner mount pieces. I don't exactly know how to phrase them, but they have these rigid kind of joists in the center that you can loosen up and kind of move ever so slightly. They have the ridges that prevent movement for when you tighten them, and once they are tightened, they are pretty much impossible to move. Now, I've never really had a movement issue with the ball mounts in this system, but I've also never really stress tested it. I've used these for holding up lights and cameras, sometimes at weird angles, but I've never had any slippage. If you are concerned about that though, these would be the pieces to get, and they do come in two different sizes. They also have a phone mount, because of course they do. This smartphone mount is pretty similar to the one Elgato has. I'm actually taking off of this for an example real quick. Just a spring-loaded phone mount. This is the one from Elgato again, and this is the one that TAC Form has. I actually would prefer the one from Elgato. It has a few different threaded options. Actually, the same threaded options that this one has, but this one, the ball mount, is permanently affixed to it. Now, I have found a good use for these because I don't really use smartphones in my content creation very often, but for holding capture cards, especially for streaming using cameras or for video game systems, being able to hold this and secure this and put it close to whatever object I'm needing is actually pretty handy. So that is one use for it, but again, not really my favorite thing to have, but it can be useful. This actually came as part of a kit, otherwise I would not have picked up yet another smartphone mount. One thing that I am very excited about though is the fact that you can buy these pieces individually from TAC Form. They do look a little different. This is actually the one from TAC Form. This is the one that comes with Elgato. Now, one of my biggest, they're not issues, but questions for Elgato is why you cannot purchase this little piece separately. If you lose this piece, your entire mounting system is useless because you will not have anything else that fits in there that has a thread and can be secured to a light or a camera or anything like that. I'm not really sure why they don't sell this individually. It seems like it would be a really simple thing to do, but luckily TAC Form is there for you because they have their own version. And in fact, it is actually a million times better. It has its own independent wheel for the thread, which means you can secure this to a light or a camera or whatever else you're threading onto the mounting system, and not have to worry about spinning the entire thing to get it secured on there. Really little change, but I honestly think a way better change, and of course being able to buy it separately is huge. I've actually bought a couple of these. Now, you can swap these out. Not quite as easy as a quick release system, which I also do utilize for a lot of my lights and stuff, but being able to have the option to do it is honestly awesome. A few other things that I picked up is this clamping system that not only works on desks because of the flat edges, but also can work on smaller poles. I've actually found that it does work pretty well on the multi-mount pole. And this is just a really nice thing to have for when you don't need something to be at least, I think this is 18 inches tall at its minimum, maybe even a bit more. This can be a bit tall, especially for mounting cameras to your desk. In fact, I have mine for my camera as low as possible, and I might even be swapping it out for this, plus a couple pieces of these, because having that control and height is huge, and also being able to secure it to a pole is also equally helpful. Speaking of pole mounts, this is the piece that I'm actually the most excited about, is just a simple pole mount. Elgato does not offer anything close to this, but TAC Form actually sells these in two options, both of which come with additional spacers, so to make sure that these fit snug around the vast majority of pole sizes you may be mounting to. This one, which is the smaller one, works perfectly, again, for the multi-mount pole, and I'm also getting two larger ones because I want to swap out the mounting system I have for my streaming lights, which actually takes me to the next piece of TAC Form accessories that I have. This clamp is fantastic. It's actually the same style clamp that I have right now holding up my lights, but it is huge and unwieldy, and yes, it is super sturdy, and you clamp this to something, it's not going anywhere, but it is huge and unwieldy, and I will really like the option to be able to move things a lot easier. So I did actually get one that has the ball mount on it as well, just to give myself that freedom and options. But again, be careful with these. They are quite heavy too. You need to be mounting this to something sturdy. The monitor mount I have is actually quite beefy, which is why I need the larger pole mount, but these are pretty good. I would recommend doing your research and measuring before you pick up something like this, because it does take up a lot of space. And I think the last piece, yeah, I think that's everything. Like I said, I went a little overboard. The last piece is this wall mount. Now, they have a bunch of different permanent mount options, but this little wall plate mount, or plate mount, I guess, would work great for not only a desk, but also securing into a wall. Make sure you actually secure it properly, like into a stud or something like that, because I'm sure that you put enough torque on this, it's gonna rip right out of drywall. You've been warned. But this is a really nice one to have. I don't see myself really using permanent mounting systems right now because I do rent, but in the future I think I'm going to be using a bit more of these to get some either ceiling mounted options or again, some wall mount availability. Alright, so these sound pretty fantastic, right? It gives you way more options for mounting, it makes everything way easier, and everything is safe and secure. What's the downside? Well, if you are already a fan of the multi-mount stuff, you know that they can be a little pricey, as with all of Elgato's products. Unfortunately, that is also true with track mount. I would say the pricing is fairly similar. Some of their products are a little more expensive than I think they should be, but by and large, expect to pay about the same for all the individual pieces. It is photography equipment. It is going to be expensive, unfortunately, but it is also very well made and very sturdy, and I feel like it is worth the price you are paying. The other downside too, I would say, is that at least on Amazon, these things are pretty tough to catch in stock. I was only able to get 1 or 2 pieces of a few things that I actually would like more of, and I'm just going to have to keep an eye on them. If you do want to check out, again, the link is below, and they do have a website, so you can buy through them as well, but I feel like the stock on there is also fairly limited. So just be aware, you may not be able to get your hands on these immediately. Just keep them in a wish list and keep your eye on them, and I'm sure you'll be able to build the setup that you want. And that should about do it. Thank you all for checking out the video. I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, with occasional surprise streams at other points. I do lots of design streams, some games, and all around we just have a good time. Also, if you liked the video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. I really need to do more videos. Now that I have the setup exactly the way I want it, I really need to start utilizing it. So expect more videos soon. Thank you all for hanging out. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.